Good evening, folks. This is Jay from Cold Nights, and you are listening to the Cold Takes podcast. Tonight, we have someone who is going to be a regular guest on the show. He is part of the Cold crew. We have Phil, one up. What's up, man? How we doing?
Hey, man, what's
Rocking
going
that
on?
Halloween
I'm doing
shirt.
good. Yeah. Gotta
Looking good.
represent Cold Nights for Halloween
Looking good.
all year round.
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Like I privately, I recently fallen, so I gotta hurt myself, ice and snow. Gotta be careful, but other than that, I kind of been recovering this past week, so I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good now.
Good deal. How are things going over at Premium?
It's going pretty good. We just had a pretty big announcement that we're going to be bringing Chadtronics Podlings games physically to the Nintendo Switch, which is really awesome. Really awesome.
That sounds cool because I've always been like a huge fan of his. I love his cursed commercials videos. Me and my son will sit down and watch them for hours. And the cool thing is he's got so many of them, you can literally sit there and after 2 or 3 weeks, you forgot it and you're entertained by it again. So that's pretty cool. And I know that you had shared some stuff on Twitter and the link to that YouTube video. That looks pretty neat. So that's something to be excited about.
Yeah.
Something else to be excited about is so if all of you don't know, me and Phil are pretty good friends outside of like the podcast and stuff, and we talk a lot. And one of the things we've been kind of throwing around, we're both big boys and we definitely like to eat. So this video is totally not brought to you by TGI Fridays cheddar and sour cream potato skins. Or what do you have, Phil?
I have original Homer's Candy Bakery Delight white chocolate covered pretzels.
Those look pretty
They're
good.
pretty damn good.
So let's
they are.
Get the open on camera. Boom. Oh, look at that. So we've been discussing possibly doing a Fat Boys podcast where we will share regional snacks and talk about how they taste and I'll show off things that he can't get where he lives. He'll show off things that I can't get where I live. So I don't think he's ever seen these, and they are, I can tell you, extremely delicious. Look at that. Look at that. Yum, yum.
Yeah. So the inaugural Fat Boy podcast on Jay's channel, I'll probably, that's the podcast I was kind of toying around with the idea of my last video where I made my big announcement. We were talking about it and we kind of come up with like a funny intro for it. I don't know if we're going to do it yet because it's kind of hilarious. But I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be fun.
These appear like they're baked and they're flavored with like a powder, like many things are, but it has a delicious cheddar and sour cream taste. So not exactly like a potato skin, but definitely something that's enjoyable to eat for sure. Listen to that crunch. That's some Fat Boy ASMR.
ASMR. Oh, man.
That's delicious.
We love our snacks, too. I swear most of our phone calls is just like talking about what we had for lunch or dinner.
That's for sure. And then
I'm gonna have some chili cheese Frito burritos tonight.
We're going to wash it down today with Rockstar Punch, the normal drink of Cold Nights. Again, not sponsored. If you want to sponsor Pepsi, you know where to find me. All right. But this is
I got a Pepsi Zero.
And very bad for you. I have kidney stones and high blood pressure from this, but I love it. Oh,
that's what Phoenix Downs are for.
It also makes you piss and sweat red. If you wear a white t-shirt and you drink those for like a week, you will actually see that there is red stains instead of yellow sweat stains. Your body cannot digest the dye that's in that. So yeah, pretty interesting little fact there. So that's enough about the food. We'll be enjoying it, I'm sure, throughout the podcast. But
and Jay's medical condition.
Yeah, we got all that good stuff. But we definitely have a lot of gaming news to talk about this week.
Oh, yeah.
The first subject I wanted to touch on, it's kind of like me making a little statement. I've seen so many people getting into huge, heated arguments about politics and video games and whether you should avoid certain video games because of the thoughts or political opinions of their creators or the creators of their universe. And I kind of want to preface this with saying that, I am someone who is a libertarian politically. I don't belong to the left or the right. I believe that people have an inalienable right in our country and the world to live freely and to do, love, whatever with their life. Love who you want, be who you want. The government nor other people should tell you how to live. But what I'm not a huge supporter of is someone telling me what to do with my free time. Just like I don't think anyone has the right to tell anyone else how to live, nobody has the right to tell me what movies, books, or games to consume. Now, if you want to tell me not to consume them because they're not good, they are low quality content, or they're just complete shit, I understand that. But because you have a disagreement with someone's philosophical views on any subject, and they happen to be the creator of the universe or part of developing the game, that doesn't stand for me. All right. I'm going to enjoy this game on my own in the privacy of my own home. Nobody should tell me whether I can do that or not. Now, honestly, with Hogwarts, I'm not going to play the game. I'm not interested in Harry Potter. I liked the movies okay, but I was past the point of juvenile fiction when they came out, right? I'm an avid reader, but I never read Harry Potter. It wasn't my thing. I was too old. So I really don't have any attachment to the universe. So I'm looking at it from the outside because I wasn't going to play the game anyways. But if you want to play the game, play the game. It does not hurt anybody if you play the game. And it actually hurts the developers who have nothing to do with that admittedly vile woman that created the universe. The developers and the programmers and the people that are working in advertising and the people that are going to stock that game on the shelves at the stores had nothing to do with what she said or did. So I'm just putting my opinion out there that if you want to play Hogwarts, do it. And I support you completely. If you don't, that's up to you too. If what she said is too much for you, then you shouldn't play the game. That's your prerogative. But please, I ask everyone, don't make your opinions on the matter factor into the decision of whether someone else is going to play the game. Don't shame them on Twitter. Don't shame them on YouTube. That's all I have to say about it. What do you think about it, Phil?
Honestly, I'm like you. I don't really care for Harry Potter. I know there were the books when I was in middle school, elementary. I remember seeing one of the kids there reading it. It was huge, and I was like, I'm not gonna read that. And then forgot all about it. The movies came out. I watched like 3 or 4 of them, and I was like, these are the most boringest movies I've ever watched in my life. It's like 2 to 3 hours, and they're just talking, and they keep mentioning this bad evil guy, but they won't say his name. And then in like the 5th movie or something, you finally see him, and he's just Krillin from Dragon Ball, but he looks like he's been on like drugs, and he's like shriveled up, and he's wearing
cracked out Krillin.
Yeah, like cracked out Krillin. And I'm like, this isn't even good. I'd rather watch Wizards of Waverly Place. At least they use magic. That's just my hot take.
Yeah.
But if you really love Harry Potter and you really want to play this game, I would say go play it. I mean, look, variety is the spice of life. We're all different. We're all unique. We're all limited edition, as I like to say, special in our own way. And it's your money. You work hard for it. nobody should be telling you or gatekeeping or locking you out of the ability to play this game that you want to play. It's nobody else's business. If you love people, you care about other people, you try to contribute to your community and society, you want to support one another, you just want to live your life happy and peacefully, then you should get to enjoy this game. I don't understand why there's so much hate about it. And I don't know anything about J.K. Rowling. I didn't even know it was a woman who wrote the books. I mean, I had no idea about really anything from Harry Potter. And I did see footage of the game. I thought it looked pretty cool. I say look because you're really not going to know how great it is to actually dive in. But from what I could see, it looked like a fun, enjoyable game from the outside.
Yeah.
And if somebody that doesn't even like Harry Potter like me is kind of interested in going, I would probably play that, that's saying something. Because now you're getting the attention of somebody that didn't care for the movies or for the books.
One of the things
there's
driving me crazy about what people are saying is if you come out and openly say you're going to play the game or that you support the game, people will say that you're transphobic or homophobic. And just for like full transparency, folks, I am trans attracted, and if you've ever looked at my Twitter feed, it's very obvious that I'm bisexual, and so I'm not an enemy of the community because I'm part of it. So when you have people who are part of the community telling you that this is silly, that we're getting into an uproar about what games people are playing, you should probably listen to that.
I mean, to me, it's just a video game. I feel like the state of gaming a lot of times can be really depressing and so negative because there's console war fightings or people are getting upset about this or something a company did, and it just kind of brings down the enjoyment of games. I remember being younger and just be generally excited for this game, want to play it. The internet was small then. You couldn't really get online and get mad at somebody for liking a game that you didn't like. It just gets so demoralizing, and that's why I want to be a part of positive side of the community. Builds a nice, loving community for all. And when I mean for all, I mean for everyone. Doesn't matter, just everybody. And my only concern really about the game, and this comes from a collector, is I remember seeing some kind of advertisement in small print. It said it required an internet connection. And I thought, this is supposed to be an open world single player RPG. Why does it require internet connection? That is my only concern because I think that is really, really silly. Aside from that, I have no real complaints. I
100% agree. The always online thing is a bad deal when it's included.
Yeah.
But I like what you're talking about with the community. It's a concern for me because, we make all these posts over the last couple of weeks. I've had a lot of love and good moments with the community recently. With my last podcast, it did really well. It was very heartwarming, and especially the reaction people had to your announcement and the changes you're making. But everyone needs to know that there is a nasty underbelly to it too. Because of what I said in this, people will unfollow me because I support a game. But there's also people on the other side. Because I talked about my sexuality, there's people on the other side that will unfollow me. It's crazy that there's this gnarly little underbelly with people that are so firmly planted on the left and right side of social issues that they'll let it affect their enjoyment of social media and video games. I despise politics on these platforms. Whenever I see someone start posting overly political stuff on Twitter, I unfollow them. If you were talking overly political on your YouTube, I would unfollow you because I am into politics and activism in my private life, but that's not part of this, right? I can sit down and talk politics with my family and friends outside of this, but this is a break from that. When I go on Twitter to look at, new footage of games or all the husbandos and waifus in Fire Emblem Engage, That's what I'm there for. I'm not there to hear about Donald Trump or Joe Biden or what you think about someone who, is an author, and do you think they're a bad person because they said this about that person and this person. I don't care about any of that. I didn't come here for that. And I understand that you can't fully avoid it, but I certainly try to as much as I can. But as many people as I've seen, other content creators, people that just post on Twitter, get flamed over this, I have to say something. It's crazy.
I mean, video games entertainment is supposed to be entertainment, and it just feels like there's too much negativity and controversy and all of these things deteriorating the love and joy for that. I just want to be a part of something positive. And I'll be the first to say that I have made some stupid mistakes. I have said some stupid things online. But that's why I want it to be a new year. I want to be more loving, more understanding, more patient. Um, just take the time to build a part of a positive community, because that's what it's really about. And it's just sad that all of these things kind of take away from that. And I'm not going to be mad at anybody that doesn't want to play it. I'm not going to be mad at you if you want to play it. I mean, like I said, I'm not really a Harry Potter fan. I do think the game kind of looks cool. I don't know if I am going to buy it or play it. Maybe I would rent it from GameFly, which is a great service if you don't want to, really invest in the game, but you want to try it. Maybe they could drop a demo so people can kind of get a feel for it. I just want people to judge their opinions on the game for the game, because regardless of how you feel, there are a lot of people that put blood, sweat, tears into this game. A lot of time, a time away from their family, crunch time. Crunch is really bad in the gaming industry. You hear all kinds of stories about it. So it's like you have to kind of look at it from their point of view. And I try to look at it from all sides, because sometimes we just get too caught up in our own opinions that we won't value anybody else's. And just feel people need to take a step back and not really get so caught up in the negativity side of things.
The other thing is, I wish people would stop concerning themselves with the stances and opinions and histories of creators. If you want to talk about what J.K. Rowling did or said, don't ever look at what Hollywood directors and actors and actresses do, because they're not good people. If you want to pick apart what everyone's doing, let's do it equally. Let's go look at what all these directors have done, and let's see if they've ever had trouble with a law, or they've ever made like a crazy post on social media. We seem to want to key in on one thing, but realistically, you shouldn't judge the art by its creator's past. You should enjoy the art for the art. Whatever J.K. Rowling did or said will not impact me playing or not playing, or my enjoyment of that game. And that's just the truth. So I think we've really covered everything about that subject. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we have a lot more with Phil One Up. Hey, everybody, this is Jay from the Cold Takes Podcast, and we are back with Phil One Up. You still with us, Phil?
Yeah, I'm still here. Changing my colors up a little bit.
Good deal. Look at that, all those special effects. So the next thing I kind of wanted to touch on was games we've been playing recently, and kind of have like a little open discussion about that. So I'm going to go to you first. So what games have you been playing recently, Phil?
Well, me and my friend Dark Chaser Tyler, been friends with him for many years. We recently played Salt and Sacrifice. It's kind of a Metroidvania Souls-like. It's the sequel to Salt and Sanctuary, and I absolutely love Salt and Sanctuary. Such a fantastic game. And I am just left kind of a bit disappointed. I think I'm going to put out a review for it. I've been talking about it for a while. We went ahead and we got the platinum, put tons of hours in it, so I have a lot to say about that. But I just feel like they pack too much in it. Um, it, the problem with it is they decided to put some Monster Hunter in it, which sounds cool on paper, but it's not executed well because you have these big giant areas and you find the boss, you have to run through the area, chase them down. They keep teleporting all over the place, but everything is randomized. So it's like you'll be fighting a boss, and then another boss will teleport into the boss fight when you have the boss's health at the bottom, and it's just complete anarchy. It's chaos, and it's not structured well like Monster Hunter, and it gets really tedious constantly fighting the same boss and running around and chasing them. And there are some good stuff there, but things that they changed from the first game I don't really like. Like there's no fast travel, so that you drop into this massive giant level and you go all over it to try to explore, and you have to hunt down these mages to unlock more areas, and then you got to go to another area to get a tool to come back, and then you have to remember where that part was because there's no map. And there's some weird things about it, but the magic is really cool. The different classes you can be are pretty cool. There's a lot of enemy variety, a lot of boss variety. The color palette is a lot better than the first game. The first game was more kind of like muted, dark browns and blacks and grays. This has more color to it. The music that's there, it's really great, but man, it's just they dropped the ball so hard, and I just wanted more of Salt and Sanctuary. I didn't really want this Monster Hunter grinding thing tacked onto it. It just I don't know. It takes away from the core great thing they had going for them within the first game. Other than that, I rented a couple of games from GameFly because I'm going to be doing a review for it. And I had my friend go ahead and rent Evil West, and we were going to play on it together. And we get on there, we do the tutorial, and we can't play with each other. And I'm searching the internet trying to find out why we can't. And there's no information. The only thing we can find is says there's no crossplay. And then we end up finding this Reddit post, the person that is playing the Xbox One version, I think their girlfriend is the Series X, and they can't play with each other because there's no cross generational play. So
Oh,
there's no cross play, and there's no cross generational play, and they're not advertising it as cross generational play. They're labeling it as no cross play, but that's not the same thing. When people hear no crossplay, they think, okay, I'm on PlayStation. I can't play with Steam, Switch, or Xbox. But oh my gosh, like, and it made me so mad because it's like we both had to take time to get the game, and now we have to return it, and it was such a hassle. We wasted our whole night. We only have the weekend to really play with each other because we're both so busy. And it was just a bummer. It really upset me. So I think the game is kind of cool. It has that campy PS3 type style where it's like it tells you where to go with like a flashing thing, like, oh, you can climb this ladder because it's glowing, and it has this low special polygonal fire effects. It kind of reminds me of like a PS1 game, but it just feels like the same campiness of Final Fantasy Stranger in Paradise, but really fun gameplay loop. So what's there is cool, but that just totally pisses me off because there is no game that I have played on my PS4 with my friend on PS5 where we couldn't play together. And I'm gonna go into a big rant about it, but that was so stupid, so stupid.
that
But
sounds like a
that's pretty.
really big letdown. I know that we
Yeah,
talking about it earlier, and I said that, my experience when you buy something on the PS5, I always have two different games show up in my downloadable stuff, and it always has the PS4 version. So that's really strange that it doesn't offer that. And it's
Well, I don't. I'm playing on a PS4 and he's playing on a PS5, and it's just not letting us play together. And that's just so stupid because he has PS5 versions of games. I have PS4, like Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy. We both can play together. We're not restricted. So this is the first game and the only game that I know of that has ever done this, and it's totally baffling me. I'm like, I don't know what they were thinking when they decided this. I was already bummed because they didn't put online play with the Surge and the Surge 2, which should have been a given. But now they finally do in this game, and they make it so restrictive. Not on top of that, the online is even more restricted because you don't even play as different characters. You literally play as the same character, which looks really weird. And then only the host gets to actually make progress in the story. You both don't. I think the other person that joins you gets to take some money and upgrades with them into their game, but still, it's kind of weird. It's like it was tacked on and poorly thought of last minute. And now because of this disappointment, I'm just gonna wait till that game is like $20 on the PS5. I'll buy it, put it in the backlog, and when I finally get a PS5, we'll play it together. That really bummed me out.
really
Such a
seems like a
disappointment.
missed opportunity.
Yeah.
So for me, this week I did pick up Dead Space. I'm excited to jump into that because I initially never really got into the series. I played it a little bit, and I know, hey, little advertisement for one of my old videos. The scariest games that we played. It was our Halloween special. Brandon covered Dead Space. So, after hearing what he thought of the original and a little bit that I played, I'm really excited to experience this for the first time. I know a lot of people had some concerns about how they changed some of the characters and stuff, but the graphics look incredible. And what I've seen people playing online, like on YouTube Shorts and a couple like small like first impressions videos, it looks like something I'm going to enjoy. I might stream it. I don't use Twitch a ton. But Cold Knights Gaming, subscribe to Twitch. Maybe I'll start using it. But I have been completely enthralled with Engage. I just hit the 48-hour achievement on it. I've basically been playing it nonstop, every free moment that I have from work. And the last game that did that for me was Elden Ring. So this is a very serious contender already in the first month for Game of the Year. I'm honestly not sure how it'll get topped. It's just incredible. A lot of people, I kind of don't like first impressions videos because people were saying it was short on story. They obviously didn't play later on in the game. The story gets pretty heavy and emotional, and the gameplay loop and the combat is classic Fire Emblem. It's incredible, and the refocusing the game from the social aspects that were so prevalent in Three Houses back to the combat and really, really getting into it made it a special experience. There are such great characters in it. I'm having a hard time progressing through the game because I want to level everybody up and see what everyone's potential is. I've watched a whole bunch of tier lists and stuff. And some of my favorite characters, people are like, oh, they're not good, you shouldn't use them. But just like with a lot of strategy RPGs and many RPGs in general, there's ways to like force level them into being good. And one of the specific emblem rings that you can get with the DLC, Tiki, allows the character to turn into a dragon for a whole bunch of turns, and it increases their stat growth. And one of the characters people rated poorly was Alfred. I'm in love with this guy. He's literally like a trope of Prince Charming from like a Disney movie. And he's ridiculously funny, and he's cute. And I've had the dragon ring on him the whole time, and he's literally probably my strongest character, even though he's
You sure? You sure that's a dragon ring and not a wedding ring?
Hey, for sure could be. But like He's actually, let's see, is he still? Yeah, he is the background on my phone.
Oh wow, that's
But
cool. That's cool.
yeah, so my Prince Charming is like the strongest character, even though he's like a D and F tier on people's tier rankings. But there's such incredible characters on both sides. Um, I was joking with my wife earlier. I was like, this game is literally made for like old time JRPG nerds, and it totally is. Those of us that are playing tactics and things like Vandal Hearts, and of course the old Fire Emblem games. But like the ensemble cast of characters can't be beat. Like I will repeatedly say that's the strength of the game. I've gone through cycles of I'm in love with these two and I'm in love with these two and I want this one to be the one I give my bond ring to at the end of the game. Unfortunately, only like 10 or 12 of them are romanceable, which is good because there's a couple like child characters that it would be kind of weird if you could romance.
Yeah, yeah, we don't
Um,
need to cross that. Yeah.
or kind of like unusual characters that are like super eccentric that show no interest in romance. You can give the bond ring to the children or them, but it's not romantic. Like you're like, oh, we're gonna be best friends or whatever. But there is a couple that are romantic, and I think that Alfred is one of them. I'm not sure right now. I played as Malier. All right, I didn't want to do the female, had to do the male. I love his voice. I love his hair. But if I had to have him marry off now, I don't know if it would be Alfred or Panette, and she's the coolest female character in my opinion. She's like this weird, like goth girl that got like tattoos on her face, and she's a berserker, and she is probably the second natural strongest character in the game, strongest unit. And I've over leveled her to the point where she's like unstoppable. Like her and Alfred could probably like solo maps. So I don't know which one. I think they're both romanceable, so I'll have to figure out which way he's going to go. But guys, if you haven't played the game, you really need to. Like I considered doing a review, and I still might, but I mean, this is my review here. Like I'm like 3 chapters away from finishing the game, and it's the most fun I've had since Elden Ring. And that's apples and oranges. You can't really compare them. This game is incredible. As far as RPGs, the last RPG that affected me this much was probably Final Fantasy 12. So it's on that level. So definitely check it out if you haven't. And I did get the cards. One of the few perks of being like a person that shops in store. I had pre-ordered, and I followed up the day before. I went in Thursday to make sure they had my amiibos that were releasing the next day, and to make sure that they had the cards. And the GameStop I went to had said that for every physical order in the store, just physical period, not just collector's editions, not just standard editions, they had exactly the amount. So I think they said they had like 50 or something pre-orders, and that's how many cards they had. So I got mine and I got it home, and I thought it was just something simple, like most, games or RPGs have, as like a little pre-order bonus. And I get home and the whole world is on fire with people saying they couldn't get them if they ordered online, and even people saying that they ordered in store and couldn't get them. And I was like, wow, either GameStop is evil and deceitful, or my local GameStop is just run by saints. I don't know, but they took care of me and I had a great experience. But Phil can talk about it in a moment. Some of the experiences were not good. So what was your experience with learning about the cards, Phil?
So I was chilling on Twitter, and I haven't got my copy yet. I got the collector's edition. My friend Lacey, thank you. She ended up picking me up a copy of the collector's edition at GameStop. And we both end up getting the pre-order bonus secured, so that's good. But I was on Twitter and I see our friend Allie very upset because she had pre-ordered the game, she didn't get them. And I saw a picture of her showing them being scalped for like $70-$80, more than the game costs to buy, like almost as much as the dang collector's edition, which is crazy. And it's just a pre-order bonus. But I have a video that I'm getting ready to put out. I recently went to a city for day of fun. I tried to do some game hunting, and I went to a GameStop, and there was some customer that came in to pick up their pre-order a few days late for the standard copy. And I brought up to the employee, I was like, did you know that these pre-order bonuses are being scalped for more than the game? And it's like, oh yeah, yeah. And I was like, and this GameStop employee told me that, oh, those pre-order bonuses were only for the collector's edition, only for people who pre-ordered the collector's edition. It said it right there on the website, and I was sitting there going, what? That don't sound right at all. It's supposed to be for anybody who pre-ordered the game. You're supposed to get that guarantee. I have never heard of pre-order bonuses being restricted to only if you buy this edition or that edition. And then she went on to say, like, oh, but we had extras and we gave them to our standard customers because we're going to help them out, kind of like trying to puff it up a bit. And I was just going, I know that's a lot. That has to be a lot. And I thought, I was like, man, when some of my friends find out about that, they're going to be very upset because that is not at all true.
The whole thing is very upsetting because what she said is diametrically opposed to what the people at my GameStop said. And it really upsets me because we have a great little community. There's 9 or 10 of us that are very close and that we talk almost daily and we interact with each other's posts. And I actually want to say I might be the only one that got them. And that's not fair. Like,
no.
I haven't even opened them. They're still sealed. I've seen what they look like. The art's beautiful, but like the collector inside of me is like, I don't want to open these. I would never sell them. There's something that I'm happy to have, but it's not fair that, my friends like Allie didn't get them or other people didn't get them. It's just not right because everyone was really excited for these things. And like I said, like if you haven't seen them, go on like Google Images and look. They look really cool. It's the same art from when you unlock the dancer and fortune teller in game. When he's doing your fortune, it's the same art that it shows on the cards. It looks really cool, and it just sucks that everyone couldn't get them, and it sucks that it was handled so poorly and that there's not real answers.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. I was in there too, and I overheard something else strange that she was saying to a customer that came in to want to buy a PS5, and she was trying to convince this customer to get the GameStop extended warranty, which is like 50 or 60 bucks. And she specifically said to this customer, and this is the craziest thing I ever heard, and I knew she was completely lying. She said, now, if you don't get this extended warranty, your console won't have any warranty. Sony no longer offers 1-year warranties for their devices. You only have a 30-day period of window to return it to our store. Are you sure you don't want the extended warranty? You won't get one from Sony. They don't include it anymore. And I was just sitting there going, what the fuck? I was like, that is not true. And I went to Google and I checked, and you do get a 1-year warranty with Sony. They have to give you that.
It would not be allowed in the modern consumer society to sell a $7 piece of electronics that didn't have a warranty on it.
Yeah, everything has a warranty when you buy it, or at least everything should. I don't know if that would be illegal or not. I don't know the technical things for that, but I know that was a complete lie. And I was like, this is why I don't like to come into GameStop. Like,
it sounds like they're doing some deceptive things at that GameStop.
Yes.
Because there's no consistency in the experience. And I'll shout it out specifically to the Amherst, New Hampshire GameStop. These guys are incredible. The manager, I talk about games with him every time I go in. There's 2 or 3 of the associates, the regular associates there. We have great conversations about games. I've even shared my social media and YouTube with them. And we have a great time when I go in there. And it just sucks to hear that other people aren't having those experiences. Mine is always well stocked with both collectibles and games. They always have a ton of cool clearance stuff. And I'm always posting, pickup, like snapshots on Twitter of all the cool stuff I found. Like, it's part of my weekly routine. Usually on Monday or Tuesday, I like to go in and check it out. A lot of times on Tuesday because of the new releases, because I definitely like to see if, there's something I didn't think of that was coming out from like NIS or one of the, more obscure, Japanese publishers. I always like to look for that stuff. And it just sucks that experience isn't uniform, because I love GameStop and I don't use their trade-in stuff. I'm a physical collector. I hoard all these games. I would never trade them in. Even when I have doubles by mistake, I don't open them up and then trade them in. Like, I just keep them. I'd rather give it to my friend than trade it to GameStop. So I'm not really involved with that part of it. But I love and support GameStop. And it just sucks to hear from you and a couple other people that I've talked to that GameStop sucks in a lot of places. And I just don't understand it, because mine is great.
It's disappointing, but that makes sense. Your experience is going to vary from somebody else's. So whereas I'm kind of negative about them and I want them to be better, it's really how that store is managed and some of the rules and things they have in place. It's not very consumer friendly, and having your employees just kind of lie and be deceitful about things to kind of trick people in order to pay this or to believe that, that's really not right. That's not fair. You don't need to be doing that. And I don't know. I want to have a store you can go to that has games consistently that you can rely on. I miss some of those stores used to have as a kid, video game rental stores, mom and pop shops, places to go for video games here. And I went to several places in the city, and in my area, that's the only place you can go to actually find stuff is the city. And I was disappointed at every turn. I didn't find anything. Like I said, I'm gonna put a video up of it, and it was just it's such a shame. I wish there were more places that I could rely on to find cool games, but sadly, that isn't. That's why I'm mostly an online shopper and collector, because that's my only option.
See, I'm wondering if it has something to do with where the stores are. If you're familiar, probably many people aren't, but if you're familiar with New Hampshire, like the Amherst, Bedford area is very affluent. So I don't know if because maybe the sales are higher in that store, because people have more free money to spend, they send nicer used items from the headquarters or the warehouse to them, or if they send nicer collectibles, and maybe a GameStop that's in the inner city or out in the country wouldn't be the same. But again, like, the lack of consistency really sucks.
I mean, it makes no sense because this GameStop was in a mall strip with tons of other businesses. So you think it would have a nice stock of games. And they even had a sale where it was like, buy 420 games and under for 40, and buy four $10 games and under for 20. And I was looking for games to buy, and there was nothing. I even asked, well, do you have any 3DS? Because, I got to check that with the store closing in March. And they had like 3 games, and 2 of them were like Nintendogs or whatever. And I was like, I'm not interested in that. They had nothing. And I tried to find something. There was maybe one or so games.
Dogs?
I don't really care about it. I don't.
The only problem, I saw people arguing, we talked about this earlier about whether we need a new Switch or not, blah, blah, blah. The only thing I'm concerned about with Switch is they haven't put out a Nintendogs on it. How is there not a modern generation Nintendogs?
I don't know. You're gonna have to take it up with Bowser. Just go to Nintendo's Corporation, have your pets in hand, and say, "Look,
Nintendogs. We need Nintencats. We need Nintendo Pets that has like birds and turtles. Where is the pet simulation games?"
Oh my gosh!
It's just not the same. Guys, I'm just kidding. I really don't care. I'm pretty sure I have all the Nintendo.
You had me believing that you really cared a month ago. I was like, okay.
It's my Nintendogs rant, people. That's going to be mentioned in the description of the video. Just remember that. I might even make
Nintendogs, all caps.
So, Phil, when are you going to announce that Premium's going to release like a huge Nintendogs compilation?
That
would be awesome. You got to talk to your bosses and tell them to do that.
Oh my gosh.
You don't think they'd like that suggestion?
I have no comments. No comments.
So,
Man.
guys, down in the comments, tell me if you want to see more Nintendogs on modern consoles. We need to get it on the Switch immediately. Dramatic stare into the camera. Yeah, give that dramatic stare. All right, so we've covered Hogwarts, we've covered Nintendogs, we've covered the highway robbery of GameStop, Fire Emblem Engage tarot cards. Phil, do you think anything else we got to go over today?
Oh man, I don't know. NIS had a couple of game announcements with their little 30th anniversary birthday direct on Twitch.
Disgaea 5.
Disgaea 7 with their collector's edition.
65th release of Disgaea.
Yeah, there's so many Disgaeas.
Those games are fun, and I love SRPGs, but come on. How many of these do you make?
I don't know. There's a big old collector's edition for it. There is also really exciting Raspberry 2 and 3 release.
That I can get behind.
Yeah. We never had those in the West. It's really odd though, because it's coming to the PS4 and the PS5, but the first game was released physically on the Switch in a volume collection with other RPG volumes.
Wait, it's
and
not
all those
coming
games.
to Switch?
No, it's coming to Switch. I'm saying that the first game, Raspberry, was bundled with some other game in one of the NIS RPG volumes they've released. They've released like 3 volumes of those. But the PS4 and the PS5 is not getting volume 1 of it. We're not getting the first game. We're only getting 2 and 3. So Switch will have all 3, but we will only have 2 and 3, and it doesn't look like they're going to give us the first game, and that's just really inconsistent. That triggers OCD with me. I want all of them on the same platform, and if you actually have those physicals, it's well known that the porting jobs were bad and the physical copies have some game-breaking issues and bugs on them. That's why I never picked them up. I wanted to, and a lot of those volume RPGs were actually originally released on the PS1 and PS2, like Phantom Brave and the first Raspberry, I believe, was originally a PS1 game.
Yeah.
So it's just weird that PlayStation isn't getting all those, especially when we have PS5 versions of Disgaea 6, Ys 8, Ys 9. So obviously they're doing some versions. I just don't understand why they're not giving us those. So that's weird, but cool collector's editions. I'm probably gonna go for one of those, maybe both of them. I haven't decided yet. NIS collector's editions are just, they're like money pits. They're so good, so high quality. I love them. Nice. And the boxes are always sturdy, never flimsy, and they're usually really affordable with a bunch of stuff around like $100 plus the reward points and the free shipping. You can't go wrong with that.
So when are we going to see this day out on the town video from you, Phil?
I'm gonna probably start editing that this week. I'm gonna try to get a couple of videos out and then also get with you at some point so we can start the Fat Boys podcast. Fat Boys podcast, because we're two fat boys that love our snacks.
Good times. Yeah, so I have footage for my Vita collection video that's been sitting there ready to edit for a while. I don't know if I'll get to it this week, but I love the podcast, but I don't want that to be the only thing I do. So hopefully soon we'll have some new content. I probably will do a review for Engage because it's affected me that much. But yeah, it seems like we've had a pretty eventful week in gaming. Phil, thanks for coming on. Like I said, the Cold Crew, Phil and Allie, will be regular guest hosts on the podcast when we don't have special one-time guests. So get used to seeing them. They make great content. Phil, what's your new channel moniker again?
It's Phil One Up Collects. So yeah, I've rebranded my channel. I have a video about it. If you're not subscribed, you go there, you can watch that. I go into detail. So yeah, I have some really nice dragon style channel art. Me hopping out of a treasure chest with a bunch of consoles around me and a giant cloud buster sword holding the one up mushroom. It's really cool. I love the art. I stare at it for like hours sometimes. It's just so gorgeous. So yeah, come help me one up my channel by subscribing, liking, all that good stuff. I'd love to have you there. It's awesome time. So
good deal. Well, thanks for coming on today, Phil. Listeners, as always, thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Jay, and this has been Cold Takes. As always, stay creepy.
bye.